Well, I will start because mine's the easiest. The one and only Stanwick Channelly. That's his whole name. You have to say it every time you talk about the one and only Stanwick Channelly. It's a mouthful, but I'm sorry. It's the only way it's going to happen. Lovely bard that plays a smattering of instruments, but specialized in a couple that I cannot for the life of me remember the name of off the top of my head right now. And then he is they are a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gnome, like slightly androgynous, beautiful, wonderful arm sleeve tattoos, always in jewelry, a little vain, constantly looking at themselves in the mirror, and they use they pronouns.
I think you alluded to some they're like horribly disgusting or something like that.
Yeah, but you all wouldn't know that.
Okay.
I mean, it depends. I don't think any of us talked about history or backstories together, because, who would do such a thing? But you wouldn't know that.
Well, we don't know what the layout is yet, so.
That's very true.
Thud Nobbler, it was abandoned at birth because he's got some like physical defects and stuff going on. Um, but yeah, obviously, whoever the Gnomish family that had him, they cared very much about the arts of magic, and he definitely did not fall into that. He was abandoned at birth, but raised by the Nobbler Institute of whatever, whatever it needs to be at the time. Where he eventually joined the army, and he accidentally attacked some of the Gwengold Imperium, quote unquote, accidents numerous times. So he was, promoted to being a town guard. He is fully aware of his actions and what they've done. But yeah, he's got some like little bunny friends, either stuffed or real, that he kind of chats with, and yeah, usually does town guard stuff. But if people need some hard muscle, he's there for them. Works at a discount.
Nice.
Lived in Ur-Durra his entire life. Very nationalistic toward this city.
Nice. That's Thud Nibbler and Nobbler, sorry. I was I wrote it Nobbler and then just was thinking about nibbles, so
Aren't we all?
I mean, who isn't thinking about nibbles like 90% of the time? If you aren't, get on it.
Get on that nibble train, dude.
All right. Grunglebuck Flackenscraggle is
Love it.
not the type that you guys would typically hang around. It's usually going over making some kind of deal, looking for some kind of angle, usually over a contentious game of cards in your local tavern. He purveys various found merchandise, and or items of these things may or may not be legal. He doesn't care as long as the money comes his way. Hence, he doesn't have a ton of friends, but his loyalty is easily secured with a paycheck. So,
he's got to get the bag.
Mm-hmm. He's of a very slight build, diminutive even for gnomes, but makes it easier to hide. And will you not one to rush headfirst into confrontation, but if he needs to, he will do what he needs to do to make sure he gets his.
Very good.
And Petunia Gollywop is a little gnomish, adolescent, young adult, somewhere in there. Not really sure. She makes it a little bit hard to tell. Doesn't ever talk about how old she actually is. She was raised mostly on the streets, probably fell in with the Nobbler some of the time. Her parents, she learned much later. Her parents died when she was 5, and she learned much later that they were, as far as she can tell, killed by the Imperium operatives of some sort. She doesn't really know the details of what they're involved in, but so she has a deep-seated loathing for the Imperium, wants some vengeance for her family. And she was also kind of taken in by a mage who observed her trying to do some cantrips on the street for, you know, stealing food and things like that. And so she learned a bunch of skills, and that's how she became a wizard.
Awesome. Okay. So, as I said, you guys don't need any great introduction to Ur-Durra, or at least your characters don't. All of them having spent most or much of their lives here. But this is the first time we all have been to Ur-Durra, so why don't we set the scene for a little moment here, in a moment here. But there's been a lot of changes, a lot of bustle in the city of Ur-Durra recently in the last years. The city is really opening up and integrating itself into the economy and opportunity presented by the Gwengold Imperium. So, what had always been a bustling city of industry and innovation and creativity has entered a new stage in its existence where that has only been redoubled. The opportunity in the West is great, and the riches are rolling into Ur-Durra. It's a good time to be an Ur-Durran with a nose for gold. Grumblebug, this is a time where you have noticed that your purse has been fat recently. But that has come at, some would call, a price. You have been working not necessarily always directly for people from the Imperium, of which there are more and more each day, but also for gnomes and gnomish companies and outfits that are contracting and working with the Imperium. So there are times where you're working directly with them and the money is very good. And there are times when you're working with, on behalf of some gnomes here in Ur-Durra. And it seems like every job you take that if you follow the trail of money far enough, it leads back to the Imperium. So with that knowledge, Grumblebuck, Flack and Scraggle, why don't you tell us why at this point you are once again needing to find a good paying job?
Well, my last job, involved a lot of Grunglebuck's last job involved a reappropriation of some Imperium shipments. Um, again, normally Grunglebuck works for these people, but his last client didn't have the highest view of the saw it more profitable to actually take from the Imperium than work with them. But he moved. But what happened was he moved some very heavy arms through Ur-Durra out to the river. It had to get through the city without being noticed, and he saw some very sinister implements making their way through Ur-Durra. He doesn't know what they're for, but again, he just collected the paycheck and didn't really ask many questions. Didn't really. He did it, collected his paycheck, and then parted ways with this employer.
Perhaps it was when he stumbled upon a crate that just his curiosity got the best of him, and he opened it, and opening it saw a great deal of like padding to protect the contents, and about eight vials, some strange potions, and like taking the stopper off one, Grumbuck got a deeply unsettled feeling and could have sworn he heard the cries of children from this potion.
The
Putting it back
babies.
in and hiding it away. Got a bad vibe for sure.
So as of now, he's being a little bit more. He's still out there for his looking out for number one, but he also isn't seeking to completely subvert his countrymen, as it were. But so even for Grunglebuck, sometimes the price is the money's not good enough.
Excellent. So coming to Ur-Durra, some of you might be just coming off a job, might be returning to the city from some journey away, or perhaps something else just happened to have caught your focus. What each of you notices on this late evening as you are returning to Ur-Durra or coming to from a evening or a day of drinking at the bar, or resting after a late night's work, or studying your magics and like being caught up in spellcraft until far too late in the night before. Ur-Durra is unusually quiet. And if any one of you were coming to Ur-Durra, as many do every day, from the plains, from the free cities, or from the great river that runs through and around the big city of gnomes, they would have seen once, as usual, a picturesque sight. This city of gnomes, Ur-Durra, is a place of great technology, of a sort of like hydropunk sort of vibe. The city as it is, kind of built and clinging among these great spires of rock that protrude from a wide, almost lake-like portion of the river. The city is built among these various spires, these towers, on and within them. And of course, with this being the case, you would expect that the only way to access the city would be by boat. And you do see a lot of naval traffic. A great deal of trade happens along the river. There are great ports at the base of many of these spires that are constantly loading and unloading goods. A great deal of raw metals and ores are brought into Ur-Durra as the gnomes long ago exhausted any very local supply. The city is always a bustle, but there are also many people that embark to the city through a system of tubes. Some strange water-filled tubes that run like this network through these spires and even all the way out to the shore of the river or across the river to allow people to quickly embark. You would see people like climbing into these little capsules, and then they quickly like shuffled through the tubes as the like water pressure just shoots them along at great speeds. This strange and aquatic system of elevators connects Ur-Durra. But not tonight. The city, its great Hydroforge, the beating heart of Ur-Durra, that runs not only the transportation network but empowers much of the industry. This strange system of like hydro-powered like hammers and saws and other implements of industrial effort that have been essential to Ur-Durra's ability to create the materials needed for the endless supply of inventions created by the gnomes here. That Hydroforge is quiet, a strange sight, and any of you within the city would certainly have felt it when the great forge was turned off, as if the thrumming, beating heart of the city that you can feel at all times through the vibrations of the towers, all connected by these tubes and all sharing this same constantly moving energy, has gone silent. And if any of you were asleep when that happened this evening, probably 6 p.m.-ish, would probably have jolted awake, as you have spent so much time here with that steady thrum that its absence is alien and worrying even. How many of you do you think are paying close attention to the oh, you're just licking your butt and not chewing something you're not supposed to? Good dog. How many of you do you think are kind of like keyed in to the goings on of public life in Ur-Durra? This includes the various high-level diplomatic talks going on between the city. It's a council of innovation, which kind of helms the city. There's no like ruler of Ur-Durra. It's a very, very loose ship here, despite the like incredibly complex interworking of all this high-tech, hydro-powered industry. So so how many of you would be, or let me know if you think your character would be kind of keeping a thumb on, or the pulse of like the politics of the city, or these like ongoing developments with the Gwengold Imperium?
Well, the one and only Stanwick Channelly doesn't really give a shit. They're just super excited about all of the business that's booming and all of the people in the city, because it makes for some really great audiences around town. Like, they have been putting on some great performances and they're stoked about it. They might have picked up on a hearing or two of things, like people talking, because, I listen, but they don't care.
Yeah. I would have, because knowing what's going on in politics is the best way to figure out a new angle to earn some coin, typically. Because where parties gain favor, other parties must find ways around the new rules, and Mr. Grungle is fast to jump into into those, seeing an opportunity when such situations arise.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'd say Thud is definitely this is the imminent attack that he's always expecting. Then surely they're going to go for the water forge first, and he's running through the streets, climbing tubes to try and get there as quickly as possible.
Petunia would probably be loosely aware of the political state of things, but always filtered through her lens of the hatred of the Imperium and not particularly savvy in politics.
Yeah. All right then. Well, let's have Grunglebuck and Petunia give me a roll, history check with advantage. Stanwick and Thud with just a flat.
You say history?
6,
Yes.
15.
16 for Grunglebuck.
17 for the one and only Stanwick Channeling.
A mere 8.
Okay. What'd you get, Joel?
17.
17. Okay. So it seems as though that everybody except for Petunia knows that this is planned. It is the great hubbub around town recently. The first time the Hydroforge has been turned off since the city was founded in memoriam. Like beyond, like the gnomes believe that they've been here since the beginning of time, or at least that's like the story. But it's a story. There isn't a specific date. There's no like very solid historical record. But for in living memory and whatever's available written memory, the Hydroforge has never been turned off. But today is a day of a great undertaking, a momentous occasion of co-prosperity between Ur-Durra and the Gwengold Imperium. An upgrade is being made to allow the Hydroforge, with all its seemingly infinite capacity to produce and move water, to be used as to also aid in the irrigation of the fields above or past the Tyrant's Wall within the Great Plains of the Imperium, the eastern portions of it, where many new cities and communities are springing up as the Imperium continues to colonize its recently conquered territories, the territories that have conquered in the last, few hundred years here. These great communities are in need of a great amount of water to water their fields, and the burgeoning communities will undoubtedly create even more opportunity for Ur-Durrans. Not just the great number of inventions that have flooded the Gwengold markets, but more of just like the just boring industrial like sort of trade, industrial and agricultural trade that is so significant to these sorts of economies. So Ur-Durra is about to embark on this great partnership with the Gwengold Imperium. The Hydroforge will be adapted over this tonight to be able to push water not just around the city, but also up over the Tyrant's Wall and into the dry plains of the eastern portion of the Imperium. It is a time of it's supposed to be a great party. I think that Stanwick, you would have figured that this is going to draw a lot of people, and anytime there are a lot of people really happy, money tends to flow for a good entertainer who can facilitate things and keep the mood alive. So you're probably potentially out there looking for an opportunity.
Get that
to
check.
Do you mean
Grumblebug,
the one and only Stanwick Ginoldi?
Yeah, exactly. The one and only.
the one and
Thank
only
you.
Stanwick Ginobili. But so Thud and Grumblebug, what do you think brings you out on this day with this knowledge?
Yeah, as he's like climbing tubes to get to the center, it dawns on him like, oh yeah, repairs. He's still gonna make his way towards the water forge just because he wants to make sure nothing fishy is going on. He knows the gimps aren't to be trusted.
Grunglebuck knows that there's usual patrolled routes that would be associated with the activity, the normal functioning of the forge, and he knows that the shutting down of the forge temporarily would mean that these these routes would be more sparsely patrolled, so it is more opportunity for him to move something through those routes should he need to. So he's on the lookout. He's going to be headed out to the seeing an easier route to possibly move some product. He's going to go out to a tavern and try to find somebody looking for a helping hand, as it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. And very soon, Petunia, I'm going to set the scene for them, and then we'll come to you as as the thing actually switches off, and that's when you first like what you look up from your studies. But we'll we'll start here with Grumblebuck. You set out into the city of Ur-Durra, a city of winding roads that encircle these spires and run through them. Also, great catwalks. There are also with especially with the spires of rock that are closer to each other. There are often like bridges that connect them that you can just walk across, as well as the tubes, which are used for like longer transport around the city. And you know that also like the city is kind of like a bunch of these spires kind of like loosely arranged around us, like the largest, like most central one that houses most of the great the big foundries and stuff. It houses the Hydroforge. It houses the Hall of Wonders. It houses also the what I'm sure many of you have taken advantage of on some occasion, or perhaps even are staying at right now. But there's also a common craftworks and comfort hall, which is just like an inn and also a shop and stuff. So like people can just live and work there and just do things. And it's for some of you who are less crafty, it could serve just like a flop house when you need it. But for those many gnomes dabble in at least tinkering and profession work as well as anything else that they're pursuing. So like all these like great communal places are in that central column. But I think in this evening, Grumblebug.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Uh, Hang on. My son needs something real quick. So could you switch my order? I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. Actually, I need
Uh,
to use a race room. So do you guys just want to take 5?
Take
yeah, that would
that.
be
Sure.
awesome.
Cool.
5 more minutes of Factorio.
um, oh, also, I meant to just like bring to the fore a little bit of information that we've covered in the Big Help Gang that are is potentially relevant to Ur-Durra. Um, Nibbles. you left Ur-Durra a long time ago before this like modern creep of Gwengold's influence. And you guys also, through your travels, you ended up meeting somebody you knew from Ur-Durra in Volcreath. Your uncle, Bombus Grumbuckle Filius Braggett Dinwiddle, who raised you and had been taken by the Whispered Litany and forced to create unspeakable machines to inflict unspeakable terrors upon people. He's nearly broken by her, but you were able to rescue him and nurse him back to health. And you guys were going to embark back to Ur-Durra to set things right. So we can. This is our game here is taking place a short while before Nibble's arrival in Ur-Durra. You know that also that Bombus's business had been taken over by one Balabor Nickelplenty, a conniving gnome of ill repute, who had formerly been a trusted kind of financial man for Bombus, who took care of a lot of the business side of things, and then sort of just cut and wrote him out of the business, kind of at the same time as Bombus was, taken by the Whispered Litany. So the coincidence, the timing there, quite suspect at the very least. Bombus hasn't been able to tell Nibbles a lot about what's going on recently in Ur-Durra because of his capture by the Whispered Litany and his being enslaved by her for some time in that devilish work. I think that's it. Any other like thoughts and like we've been playing this game a long time? Any thoughts or questions about Ur-Durra before we get underway any further?
Mainly just my own curiosity. Like, how was it formed? Because it seems like it's along a river. Was it kind of like a Grand Canyon scenario?
Yeah, so it looks like so this part of the Free Cities is like right along the like so here's the Gwengold Imperium, and there's this like cliff edge here that like is kind of scraggy and broken, and at Ur-Durra there's just like all these like spires that it seems like perhaps this like cliff extended out further in the past, and then these are like the broken remains of that cliff face.
Gotcha.
Weathered by time and intentionally shaped by the gnomes at this point.
I've always wondered about that.
Actually, if you'll give me maybe I'll send it along on a break. I went onto an AI like image generator thing and tried to get it to make Ur-Durra for me. I could not convince any of them to make, tubes connecting the spires. For some reason, they like refused to do that. That was where they drew the line. But I got some good ones that were might be good inspirational imagery. Just have to add, mentally pneumatic tubes connecting the cities and running through tunnels and the spires and running through tunnels and stuff. Think of it as like they're like some larger ones that are like basically like subway trains effectively, or a little bit smaller than that because it is like gnome stuff still. So just scale the subway train down to a few cars and much smaller because they're only like 3 feet tall. And you get kind of a picture there. They do accommodate normal sized folk. Ur-Durra is built to accommodate guests, though there are many buildings and homes and stuff that don't really allow for large people to fit comfortably. But it is a metropolitan enough city that most of its like common spaces and many of its accommodations will allow for large people. But yeah, they're like like some of the tubes are larger, will like run several these like capsules through at a time. Some are smaller, just like personal things, and like So there's like lots of different ways to get around the city, as well as like bridges and like catwalks and stuff as well. There are people do occasionally fall off. There are like in most cases like railings and stuff, but you know that there are also on many of the spires these little like mechanical whirly gigs that will like jump out of the walls, like nestled in the rocks in places, and they'll like jump out and like fly and like catch people. And they can't like fly them back up, but they'll like bring them down gently into the water. So everybody's always embarrassed when it happens to them, but people are very rarely injured. So when there's like drunken carousing and stuff, you know, it's just typically one person that takes a douse in the river below. But it's a silly place, but mostly safe.
On second thought, let's not go to Ur-Durra.
To the city place.
And if I remember right, that was one of the places that Kula's family had a solid trading partnership with, I believe, from Pasa.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely it's like the next closest river-based city. So like Pasa's over here. That's not close enough.
Mm-hmm.
The Pasa's right there. Ur-Durra's down here. So like Pasa and Ur-Durra, like definitely it's like overland travels, like you know, trading is exactly what your family does. So it's like overland to here, and like also all the way overland to get to the river here and stuff. So Pasa's definitely has connections in Ur-Durra.
Cool.
And windblown trading for sure.
Also of note, when we found my uncle, we found a note that was from the Whispered Litany that thanked them for thanked Balbor for his service and delivery of the shard.
Ah, yes.
So Nibbles would know that, but I have no idea what that means.
Yeah. I think that actually we have uncovered a little bit more of that. If I'm actually, I'll double check my notes on that to make sure I'm giving you the right information there if I can. Yeah. But yeah. There's we learned also about the a other sort of artifact that the Gwengold Imperium recovered from east of its borders some time ago. And that was a shard of that, what we've used for many of our one-shots, that the Temple of Doors, that strange place. And then they took that and then planted it at West Point and have created their own Temple of Doors. So that is a shard that the Imperium has retrieved in the past. And I'm like 90% sure it is Balabor that delivered that, but I'll double check.
I think that's right from my memories.
I think that's right too. No, I'm not going to double check. That's new canon. That's what happened.
Canon.
Even if it wasn't true before, it is now. So we will begin with Grunglebuck Flackenscraggle, who's on the prowl for a good paying job. You move around the city, like kind of like out among the outer spires, and keeping to the less active places, at least for now, where people who are very much looking to avoid the prying eyes of any Gwengold or other influences related to this big goings on in the city right now. You look around from place to place. Most of the bars are pretty empty at this point. most of the commotion and any of the traffic that you come across, they're all kind of like siphoning into the central spire, and you're about to head that way yourself, realizing that at this point perhaps there is no action this far out, and anything that's going to be had is going to be had in that place until you like go into this this bar, this uh, really like dive bar, just called the Douse. And it's infamous for people falling, off the nearby catwalks, getting people blackout drunk, and then falling off the catwalks and having to be caught by those little drones. So it's just called the Douse, and it's got a bad reputation and typically a bad clientele. And there is someone very much looking like they're trying to fit in just outside. There are like like some tables and things on the kind of like area outside this like bar. So there's like this like kind of like outer like seating area that goes along the wall. There's like this kind of like brass work catwalk that you're walking on that's solid for about like 6 feet, and then it's like this kind of graded thing for about 6 feet. Then there's a short railing, and then the night air as you were looking out into, probably at this point looking towards the interior of Ur-Durra, towards the heart. And you can see the different spires lit up with all their magical illuminations. The lights never set or never go out at Ur-Durra. They just change to, from these like honestly like strange like splashes of color. This like they just kind of like add dye almost to the light in the area during the day, just causing these like just cheery different splashes of color in different places. But at night they actually serve a more typical purpose. All these magical little torches and lanterns set around the city. And again, there are a few like official like public services in Ur-Durra. So there isn't like a lighting like core that comes around like services all these. These just like people just make these. People just make them and put them up, and then sometimes they'll just add more. And then sometimes they'll like, I don't like mine anymore. I'm going to take it down and do something else. And so long as it doesn't explode or set a fire or anything, it's just pretty much left to people that just do it. Much of the city comes together in a very chaotic way, and its light fixtures are just one more example. And so you strolling through, and you see this figure who's wearing this like, they're certainly a gnome, average height like 3'4" maybe. They're wearing this like this dark kind of like cloak over their other clothes. They look uneasy. Give me an insight check.
7.
They might be looking for a mark themselves. This might be just somebody who's new on the beat trying to fleece people. You're not really sure. Whatever's going on with them though, they're not sure why they're out here, if they're waiting for somebody or what, but they're just like leaning against the wall, maybe 6 feet away from the door into the interior of the Douse.
Do they look like they're from around here?
Give me a perception check.
Natural 20 for 21.
Absolutely a local. With a natural 20, you size them up. You can see by like the wear and the certainly they work with their hands, but that doesn't mean like that they're a laborer per se, because like looks more like probably an inventor.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like definitely a local. Looks like, from judging from like the rings and stuff, like probably had some money. looks a little bit worn. It looks a little like they've not been keeping that up recently. Young, quite young, maybe only like, just practically a kid, maybe only like 35.
I resent that statement.
I would run across them as I would walk up to them, saying, "You look ill at ease here. You mind stepping up to the bar here, see, and I'll get you a drink. See if we can set that right."
I'd be delighted. Thank you. Uh, who do I have the pleasure of meeting?
Grungle Black, Flack and Scraggle. Friends call me Grungle. Call me Grungle.
Oh, be pleased to be counted among your friends, Grungle. Well, my name's Bibbles Blackberry Grumblebuck Chomsky Dinwiddle. You can call me Bibbles.
How you doing, Bibbles? What brings you to this side of town?
Um, you guys kind of like go inside the dimly lit tavern. There's like one other person there that's just like slumped over a drink. That's like kind of moving around slowly in their hand as they're kind of like working up the drunken courage to try and take another sip without spilling it all over themselves. And you walk your way up to the bar, quickly get served. You just get a nod from the bartenders. You they recognize you, slide you a drink, and you just like signal for like a second of the same. So you guys just get like the normal like honeyed mead here, the hard stuff for gnomes, or like the it's like as bitter as it gets for most gnome drinks. Is this honeyed mead? Most things are even sweeter than this. You have your drink and takes a sip. Seems to be calming down. Give me a persuasion check.
17.
Your practiced and steadied kind of persona here. You're familiar with you've worked with all sorts. Many people with money are not particularly comfortable with the criminal underclass, and you at times are that underclass, and sometimes are just an intermediary. But you are very practiced at like steadying a nervous, well-to-do, and you after he takes a sip, you check in and like he says, I well, I you know what's going on at the Hydroforge?
Ah, it's a great to do. You haven't heard?
I have, unfortunately, and I have. Well, what do you? How do you feel about the Imperium, Grumble?
Um, well, they're upstanding. I feel they can bring a lot to us. Grumble is absolutely lying here. Going to say, because he doesn't know this person, and he doesn't know if he's not about to get clapped for being a non-collaborator. So he says, I think they're upstanding. There's a lot of opportunity to be had here. They bring a lot of good things for a lot of good people. a lot of good things for a lot of not so good people, if you get my drift.
He says, "Oh, yeah, I can see that. Well, he seems nervous, more nervous again by your response." And he says, he like looks at this little like he has like this little like a pocket watch that like pops out of the casing and like is this like three-dimensional thing, and he like clasps it back and he like looks out the window at the like some fireworks going off from the main spire and the celebration. Well, a lot of the opportunities that they're bringing are going to the wrong types of people exactly. Um, I did a little, well, seems you may be willing to hear a different perspective, and all I want to do is get some information. See, I had somebody, I paid somebody to place something for me in the Hydroforge, so I wanted to see what they were up to. Ever since my uncle went missing, I haven't trusted these Gwengold folks. I think they're up to no good. And turning off the Hydroforge for the first time, I think we should know more about what's going on, don't you?
It's always good to have more information. Information is its own riches around here.
All right, all right,
What do
all
you
right.
think?
I can pay you if you could go and get my device for me.
It's like Grungle claps him on the back and says, "It's exactly what I like." Now you're speaking my language. Do we need to go somewhere a little? Grungle, do I see Grungle? Quick, like look around. Try to do it discreetly, just to make sure that they're not being listened into.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
15.
Yeah, you don't see anybody. If they're like you see the drunk gnome over there, and that's like the only other person here aside from you two. The
Mhm.
bartender's giving you, a courteous distance so as not to, be eavesdropping or anything. Just like in the, on the other side of the bar, just doing a little tidying and stuff. Um, so it seems like you have the place to yourself.
Um, and he'll so say, um,
You see Bibbles
what
keep
kind of device? What kind of device are we talking about here?
It's an optical sensory recording device. Also, well, it's been combined with an audio recording device, but those are easy. Mine is visual. It can record anything within a field of view, and then it will replay that with and he like takes out his like clockwork, like pop out pocket watch. And it was like with a elaborate three-dimensional display.
Some mighty fine work there you got, son.
Thank you. I can't take all the credit. My uncle's my constant inspiration.
Well, hey, buddy. Uh, See, one thing you should know is my clients can expect a certain degree of discretion from me. So you don't need to worry about anything we discuss here going beyond me or you. See,
Oh, that's what I like to hear. I have to be honest, this is my first time hiring somebody for this sort of thing.
well, I can see that, son, but no worries. Grungel's got your back.
She looks back again towards the door. Seems preoccupied with it or something. He says, well, shouldn't be long. I have a friend coming to meet me here. She helped me with the enchantments of my device. She's running a little late. I'm not sure where Petunia is at this point. Um,
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
he says that he's waiting for someone else, somebody who helped him with the enchantment work, the enchantment aspects of creating his optical device, recording device. He says he isn't quite sure what's keeping Petunia. And I think with that, we'll switch over to Petunia. Why don't you set the scene for us as you are just before you are shaken with the realization that the Hydroforge has turned off and you are already late.
Yeah, Petunia is working away in her little workshop slash studio that is sort of down this little side alley on the pillar that's next to the central pillar. It'd be like, just a short jaunt away, kind of a quick run across the nearby footbridge. Um, her workshop and studio home is a sort of a little abandoned, or it was some kind of industrial abandoned place at some point, maybe a storage room. It seems like it had a little more function than just storage, but sort of a simple little spot. But she found it years ago and no one seemed to be using it. She was able to sort of disguise the entrance a little bit, and it's sort of off the beaten path, just, down this little side street. So she's made it her own ever since. She is working away on some little, enchantments that she's been working on, and all of a sudden the lights go out because she uses a little like hydro channel through the ceiling to power her lights. And the lights go out and she like curses and throws up dancing lights and then is like, shit, I've gotta go. Didn't realize what time it was. Got lost in this work already. And so she goes dashing out the door, and then she's like, and why is the power out? What 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 happened to the water? Like, um she's just like, she probably like curses the Imperium because their ever increasing presence is just nothing but bad news. Now the power's not working right. Ugh, they're making the city worse by the hour. And she runs across the footbridge, um, being careful as she exits her space to make sure that she's discreet on her exit. Um, and then rushes over to the little tavern. Was it the Douse?
The Douse, yep. We'll call because the from above the like the Ur-Durra looks kind of not dissimilar from petals of a flower coming from a central place. We'll call just like each of the pillars by different flower names. So
Nice.
this is something I'm creating right now. So we'll just use them as needed to begin referring to specific places.
Sure.
Which
And
flower
we'll
is
just call this
Petunia
kind of,
coming from?
yeah.
I think she's probably coming from
Petunia, of course.
I was gonna say that's two in the nose. Maybe um the ivy no. um dandelion. The dandelion tower.
All right. So we'll say that's like kind of in the east northeast. And you just need to go to like the next one down in like in a kind of clockwise fashion to get to the one that houses the Douse.
Okay. Perfect.
We'll call that chrysanthemum.
Nice. And chrysanthemum's not the central one, right? It's
Yeah, the central one they just call the hub.
the hub. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, you embark from your little hidey hole domain and study, and I think like your dandelion and chrysanthemum are close enough that you can take one of these like kind of swaying kind of flexible like brig, kind of like this somewhere between a bridge and a catwalk thing that the gnomes have kind of created. It's like these like connected, but with like room to adjust with like the wind and things. These like brass like plates with like these like slats through them and stuff. So they're like very like just enough to keep this structure stable enough to traverse. And you scurry across, taking that way to stay out of any the more public paths. Um, and
Yeah.
moments. Oh, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Petunia knows really. She knows the city very, very well. Um, Mechanically, she has the urchin background, which means she has a really good knowledge
Oh,
of
nice.
the city. But yeah, she grew up here and has learned how to keep to the shadows when she needs to. So
Hmm.
she's really good at getting places quickly if she has to.
Yeah, and just moving quickly because like avoiding the traffic and at the high traffic the traffic jam times a
Hmm.
day. You're just always moving around
Right.
the back ways.
She knows what areas get congested. She can get around.
Hmm. And they're like countless like unofficial like tunnels and paths and like things like gnomes have just been like, it's easier for me to get to my job if I just like make a door in this building, and then they just do that.
Yeah,
And so long as nothing bad happens or like nobody complains, it just stays.
it just
So they're
stays.
like all
Yeah,
these like ways to navigate the city that are secret.
love
um
it.
um yeah, so you in a few moments as Grungle, you notice Bibble's like looking back towards the door as they're just explaining how they're expecting this person who's late. Um, and you see Chrysanthemum enter the bar.
Petunia.
Petunia, sorry. Already getting myself
Wrong
confused.
flower.
Other flower. Um, yeah. Yeah. Petunia comes running up, kind of wiping the sweat off her brow, trying to she runs in and realizes she's inside after she gets there and just sort of tries to put her composure together. Um, and looks for her
You
friend.
Grungle, you
Yep.
see relief wash across Bibbles' face. He says, Petunia, come sit.
Ah, there you are. Yes. Ah, how are you today? My friend.
Better
Everything
now for your
going
company.
as
Thank you.
expected?
I'm sorry.
Everything going as expected. You
It is now that you're here. Um, I think I've gotten you a guy or some help. Someone who can help you slip in and get the device.
oh, the device. Yes. Oh right, yes. And she seems utterly
Did
confused
you
for a
forget you
second
were
and
gonna
then
get it?
no. It's all good. I just forgot that was today. That's just fine. No problem. The water stopped and it just threw off everything that I had on my plan for today. I can't believe the water stopped. That's so bizarre. Ah,
And we have to know what they're doing in there. So we'll have to wait a couple hours, and once they're scheduled to finish whatever secret upgrades or mm, you know I don't know what evil
yeah, I'm
plans they're up to with the
sure
Hydroforge,
it's nothing
but they said it
important.
shouldn't take more than 4 hours. But we need to know as soon as possible. So tonight.
Okay. Do I remember how long the recording works for? I imagine I would know that.
Yeah, you guys knew that like the window that the Hydroforge is supposed to be turned off for, so the device has like that plus an extra like couple hours, and it was kind of like just
Okay.
programmed or like set to begin recording when the Hydroforge turned off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, and she like seemingly turns and acknowledges this other person for the first time, and she says, sticks her hand out and says, "Petunia, at your service. I hear you're here to help."
Grongobuck.
Gwengold.
I'm here to help
Just like
as long as my services still seem amenable to your cause. I see. I do have my price, but whatever I can do to help.
she like looks at you for a minute and says like, as long as you're okay with our cause.
Grunglebuck will pull up. He'll pull off one of his gloves and he'll show them like a cut on one of his hands. And say, I think you may find me a bit more amenable to what your goals are than you may have previously suspected. I had a client that had to move some things for some other people in the Imperium, and I nicked my hand on one of these devices, and still hasn't stopped bleeding. These things are serious that they're dealing with.
Aye.
These are some. I had a. I had a friend of mine who knows a doctor in these parts said that that looks to be an infernal wound.
Hmm.
Wouldn't surprise me. They're up to no good.
So I don't.
Carly,
Yeah.
are you there?
What was that?
Oh, you
Yeah,
cut
can
out.
you hear me?
Yeah.
I just said wouldn't surprise me. They're up to no good. And she's sort of Petunia just sort of shakes her head at the Imperium. Or at the discussion of them.
Mark feverishly taking notes about infernal wounds. How could I use this later?
Dibbles says they're sure whatever they're doing is nefarious, and it's not for the best interest of gnomes or the free cities. It might be helping or might be making some people rich, but it's not going to work out for us. I don't that five-tongue voice lady, she's speaking all sorts of honeyed words to everybody and convincing all the other young gnomes to go seek out their fortunes in the Imperium, taking their inventions with them. The Hall of Wonders are empty. Empty! Sorry. I know they're up to no good, and we've got to find out what's what.
What did he say? The five voice? What?
The five-tongued voice.
Is that a new name for the Whispered Litany?
No, this
Or the five
is
divines.
this is the official title for the ambassador and plenipotentiary from the Gwengold Imperium that's here in Ur-Durra, facilitating this great boon of co-prosperity. They've met with the council. They've helped start the like youth exchange thing that's been happening. It's been a lot.
The babies.
So this person is the the ambassador that has all the authority to speak on behalf of the Imperium and on behalf of Constance Gwengold herself. A very influential and powerful person. That I think that all of you at least would have heard of, even if you're not like very familiar with what she's been up to. but noting some at least some mixed responses to that the mention, I'll say that Bibbles shares at least some of this, this information. It says, no, I know she's behind it all, I think, but she's I'm pretty sure she's the one who took my uncle, or at least saw him taken, gave the order. So I think she's the one that been working with that that no good nickel plenty.
Nickel plenty? Do I know who
Balabor
Nickel
nickel
is?
plenty. He betrayed my uncle, took over the family business. Or my father. He's not his father. He's Nibbles' uncle. This is Bibbles. Sorry, Bombus is Bibbles' father. There we go. So this Bibbles is effectively Nibbles' cousin.
Cause
And they took my dad. I don't know. My dad was meeting with some people and was convinced that the Gwengold was up to no good, and that he was going to reach out to my cousin. He's been away for some time and get some help, but things are just changing so fast. And then he got taken, and that was 10 years ago, and I haven't heard from him since. So I've been reading. I read his notes and his diaries, and I've been trying to put things together, follow the trail he was on, and keeps nervously checks the windows again. But I'm sure they're up to no good.
Of that you can be sure.
You're muted, Jared.
Let's retrieve that device, and we can see if your suspicions have merit.
Do we know anything about the security there?
No, I don't know what they've. I know that the Imperium has some personal attendance and security for Five-Tongue Voice, and if she's involved, I wouldn't be surprised if she sent some of them down there to guard whatever it is they're doing. But I know they're working with some of the council, so who knows if there's some gnomes down there too that are also helping out, either knowing or not knowing what's really going on. But we need to know. I feel like the fate of Ur-Durra's in our hands right now, and it's a lot of bad things are coming to a head real fast. There was that strange light just a couple weeks back, seemed to unfold from the center of the world out into space and beyond. No one can explain that. Strange things are afoot, I tell you.
It is quite strange.
So I think you can expect some bad folks from the Imperium down there, and then maybe some gnomes too, and locals, and people for hire like Gringle. Is it Gringle? Grungle. There we go.
Grungle.
Like Grungle here. So we need that recording, but try not to hurt anybody from Ur-Durra if you can help it.
Would I have heard in my circles of people working around some business dealings around the forge?
Give me a history check. You can do that with advantage with your connection to the underworld.
16.
Absolutely. Some of the jobs that you could have gotten recently that you kind of have not been interested in, or those that are more obviously like working directly for the Imperium and stuff. Yeah, there's been some muscles been hired recently, scheduled with the turning off of the Hydroforge. A lot of people were hired for like a couple days around that to 15. Definitely, you're not sure specifically if it was for like the Hydroforge itself or for like security. Just like there's probably a big event at the hub, lots of excitement and probably speeches and stuff. And there's already like there are fireworks going off like that you guys can see. I mean, it's the gnomes will celebrate with fireworks at the drop of a hat, but they're certainly doing it tonight too. So you're not sure it's with that role if it's specifically for the forge or specifically for like just crowd control or whatever. But you probably have some names you could follow up on if you were interested.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll let that drop a second. I might know a few people who might be down there. See, I know a lot of people in this town. See.
Glad to hear it. Sounds like we may need some allies. Can they be trusted to work against the Imperium? She like Petunia says
Grungol.
it quietly.
Oh, yeah. Grungol. One of the names that comes to mind is one Thud Nobbler. And you have gotten the vibe from Thud that Thud is not like super like on board with the Imperium and this shit. And like there's something that Thud said to you, like some affect of like when you were like asking them like what they're up to recently, and like this, something about like, like something like better to know your enemies than not, or something like that. Something like some old like saying or whatever. How do you think, Evan? How do you think Thud would communicate to an acquaintance, a work friend, like you could run in some of the same circles, I imagine. That you're like taking a job for the Imperium, but you're kind of with, like how much you would want to communicate that you're actually doing it because you want to kind of investigate the Imperium, like understand what they're up to, and why not just take a job and see what you can find out, and get paid while you do it, perhaps.
Yeah, I think in passing, Grunglebuck had a chat with Thud and convinced him that, if you lose the occasional weapon or something, you just get it back. So sometimes he loses a weapon to Grunglebuck. And on one of these tales, he showed him that he has carved the letter I and the letter G on the bottom of his boots and said, "Keep 'em always underfoot. Never trust the GI, them gimps."
Nice.
So I'll relay that to my potential employer to be saying, well, see, I know a guy around here. See, he has not too high, not doesn't think too highly of the Imperium. Maybe willing to help us with these types.
Good to know.
All right, I'm sure we can use any help we can get, and any enemy of the Imperium's a friend of ours. I should be quieter about that.
Yeah, you should. You should. You really should.
So you guys spend some time there in the bar, just kind of like getting to know each other and talking through the plan. You know that you know that the Hydroforge is in the like, kind of like the near the bottom of the base of the hub. And it's one of the few places, perhaps the only place in Ur-Durra that is, the typical goings on doesn't fly. Like people can't just come in and just like mess with the Hydroforge. It's like the only place that is like well and thoroughly regulated and like cordoned off, because it is, so essential for all functions of the city. That doesn't stop people from like tapping into the pipes and like doing like crazy stuff like elsewhere in the city, but the beating heart of this thing is under the tight control of the city itself. Under the auspices of the leadership council, the Council of Innovation, which is an elected body of typically of various like inventors and tinkerers and things. The people that the names on the council don't change that regularly, as it's a lot of very established people typically, and gnomes live a long time, so it's often like decades that they're on there. And this is still, it's just they're just popular and keep winning elections typically. And like before the recent troubles, that has worked reasonably well for the gnomes of Ur-Durra. It we'll see what influence the Imperium has here, and how things have changed.
Is there any news around town about anybody on the council going missing, or? I mean, I know I'm not here yet, but will that be a thing that?
No, not at all. Like the council has been working very closely with the voice of the Imperium, which is the official title of like the five-tongue voice of the Imperium, of Constance Gwengold, and of the five divines, speaker on behalf of the blah 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 blah. People typically just call her the voice. So the leadership council, the Innovation Council, or the Council of Innovation, has worked closely with the voice, and they've all been in a lot of like public view. There's been a lot of changes, which has been a lot of like rousing speeches and like all these like great things going on, and like there's been a lot of that everybody's been in view, and there hasn't been anybody like going missing, and there hasn't been a change to the members of the Council of Innovation for probably like 15 years, and it was and they've been like really in this like new like energetic movement, at least since like the last 12 years, since the council went to in the Gwengold Imperium to begin negotiations and talks.
Does Petunia know, is the council pretty universally for the Imperium, or like, set on collaborating with them, or does Petunia know if anybody on the council is more reticent?
Why don't you give me a street check?
Gonna roll my itty bitty tiny dice since we're gnomes. That's gonna be history. That's gonna be a 17.
17. Yeah. You know that with 17, you know that the council there's like some like disagreements and stuff, but like they're mostly just like these like friendly sort of like jives. Like the gnomes on the council like historically have all been like, it's like been like the gnomes of Ur-Durra have historically just been like, so just like there's been a culture that has kind of allowed this like leadership group to be like to make it a like relatively like good system for them. And for the 17, you would know that like that hasn't changed. In fact, it's become, if anything, more of a organized cohesion, even when there are like some like looking back on it, when like in this context, even when there are like disagreements about things, it's always these like mutually respectful, friendly disagreements where they are striving. They're like, I'm sure, this council person, Bibblebop, is, constant in their love for our fair city, but they are mistaken on this path, and we must take it this different, but also pro Gwengold path. So there's like this kind of like like unity of essential agreement around the further association with the Imperium, at least in the last like 12 years.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, Petunia, in a good-spirited gnomish way, strongly dislikes the Council of Innovators. She sees them as highly misguided. But mostly thus far in her life, that has resulted in her ignoring them and just thinking politics is a bunch of bullshit.
So back on, I think our other two gnomes are over on the hub. I think that the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli is setting up for a performance, or is let's say you've already done the setup, you scoped out the spot, you knew this was happening, you've been here through different events and stuff before. You know where like the voice is gonna set up with the like council, and they're gonna have their like public address and stuff, where like the high traffic areas are gonna be. What kind of performance do you want to put on?
This is a special occasion, so I'm gonna bust out my Kanan, which I sent a picture of in the chat. It's like it's almost like a lap harp type of deal that's plucked, and I am going to I have my mage hand holding it up in front of me as I play a rousing show with.
Sorry. I'm trying to mute myself.
No, you're good. Play a rousing show and like performance with lights and prestidigitation explosions at several different ports of the performance. With my dancing lights giving me the best lighting that could possibly shine upon my face to make me look even more beautiful.
Do you set up for your performance before or after the kind of like the public address and stuff?
Both. I go where the crowd is and I play as much as I can get people to pay attention. Like even a little bit during the public address, like I am still playing and they're like, stop.
just like playing some background music for the commencement and then like the speeches and stuff. Let's do you like set up for the arrival of the big crowds and stuff. So we'll do the first one as having happened. So why don't you give me a performance check as you like set up on like one of these like broad like areas where like a number of like these different like catwalks and bridges and like even like a tube all join. It's like this big like pavilion area where there's an actual like courtyard and like this fountain that like runs along the building, the spire, and where the speech is going to be eventually. Like probably this has me the Hydroforge before the Hydroforge is turned off.
Ooh, that's a good roll. I rolled a 19 for a 25. No, 26. Even better.
26.
I'm feeling it today.
Yeah, you draw quite a crowd. You quite a few people, like so many gnomes and others are coming out for this, and so many stop and linger here by you, and many a coin is tossed into whatever receptacle you have for it, and you entertain a large crowd as people like gather, and like you can see like there are plenty of like shops that are like selling food. A lot of everybody that sells or hucks things is out as well. So like the bustle is real. But for you, you have a captivated little corner of this great space. When all the other noises and distractions are fade away for this crowd, and you really put on a spellbinding performance. And I think that Thud, you are caught in this crowd as well, caught by this performance. You know that you were supposed to come down here and provide some basic just like crowd control and like being just some hired muscle. It's like the most basic of your skill sets on display or being put to use today, and just exactly the kind of job you want for being able to put your nose where it doesn't belong. You don't have a lot of responsibilities, but you do have an excuse to be in some places you're not necessarily like supposed to be. Um, and you, but you are caught by this mesmerizing performance by the one and only Chinoli. I think you're muted.
I'm pushing people side to side. All right, move out of the way. Security, move it, and really just getting closer so he could get like a better seat. And he like kind of keeps his back to the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli. But as soon as like the music starts playing, and he just turns around, and starts listening.
Everyone, no money, please. I do it for the smiles and the laughter. Cheers and applause. I know you're here for me.
A true Ur-Durran. And he like raises his hands, clapping above his head.
I give you a nod and a wink, and
it's time to switch.
The two of you, as like kind of like the excitement starts to die down, you hear a clap that lingers a little longer than most of the rest, and your attention is drawn to in this space, not the only tall in the environment. There are quite a few that have come out for the festivities this evening, but a tall, elegant-looking woman with just a hint of a dusky rose to her skin. She has thick black hair. She's dressed in an ornamental and elegant flowing robe of just the brightest, purest white with this golden trim and a blood red symbol of the Gwengold Imperium emblazoned on it. The great like two-headed eagle on this like five on top of this like five appointed star. She is accompanied by a small retinue. Thud, you certainly recognize some of them. Some of the faces among them are local hires. In the past, really bottom of the barrel of local talent, as well as some obviously foreign guards as well, possibly from the Imperium. At least a couple of them are wearing Imperium garb, and you can tell that there are others that are in the crowd associated with this party, but are not wearing obvious clothing to demark themselves. They are kind of like soft, like the soft enforcers, kind of like can work the crowd without being obviously a part of some well-to-do, some VIP. You both recognize this as the voice. She says, beautiful performance, truly breathtaking. The inspiration the whole world can take from the artistry and innovation of this city and its great people. I almost weep to think of it. I hope that we can take such talents as yours on the road within the Imperium, where you will find millions more ears to hear your wondrous performance. I think what we can learn from you is beyond and without equal. I look forward to further exchanges of culture and art and experience with the good people of Ur-Durra. And you hear like this great celebration and cheering and stuff goes up. More fireworks go off in the background.
Anybody
She is
watching
obviously
really
preparing
closely?
to. She's obviously preparing to like move on after this little, demonstration. It's not really a conversation. It's not really. She wasn't really talking to you. She's talking to the crowd. You've worked crowds. You can feel this. But there is inherent in this like a pause where if you did want to do or say or interact with this person, you could. It would.
And I would say that anyone watching really closely would see like the water welling up in the one and only Sandwich Chanley's eyes as I like. This is all I've ever wanted, is to hear these things. This is what I was here for. Like, madam, thank you. You've blessed me beyond words.
Just gives you the slightest elegant bow and begins to move on towards her destination.
Thud looks up at the one and only Stanwick Chinoli and says, "Haven't the gimps taken enough? Don't they need to take you as well?"
Listen, I don't do with politics. The Gwengold brings people to listen to my beautiful music. That is what I'm here for. That is why I exist. And as like we're talking, you'll notice that the one and only Stanwick Chonoli's face takes on a slightly like pinker hue, similar to that of the beautiful lady that walked past. You didn't notice it before, but it's becoming a little bit more present.
Well, I don't know about this one, Bun Bun, and a little rabbit like kind of pops over his shoulder pad.
Oh, a bunny?
Keep an eye out, Bun Bun.
Can I pet your rabbit?
Well, I don't know. Let me ask. Bun Bun, what do you say? Bun Bun kind of like nods enthusiastically. All right.
Oh, I give it the biggest of scritches. You're a cute one, aren't you, Bun Bun?
He's on the job. Don't mess with him too much.
Oh, sorry. Here's a snack. I toss it a little treat. I don't know why I have it, but I have it. I don't know what bunnies eat, but I have it.
You give him a carrot, and Thud takes a bite and hands the rest to the rabbit.
Well, you work. Oh, yeah, just back to work, all of us. And I pull out my other instrument, my saz, and I start diddling a tune.
Wonderful. How do you feel about a break? We'll recommence. Go with 10.
Tenor.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. So, where? Oh wait, Evan. We'll wait for Evan.
I'm here.
Excellent. So, Thud, you know. Well, let's have a Thud and I'll say no. I'll say for now. So you clocked this earlier, Thud. You noticed this like almost immediately. Some of those less obvious members of the Voices retinue have detached themselves, and two of them are coming up to well, three of them. One from the front and two like circling to either side are coming up to Stanwick.
I'm sorry, I don't know who Stanwick is.
The one and only Stanwick Chinoli.
Oh,
I
yeah, of
love
course,
you,
yeah.
Evan.
Sorry. My bad.
Look, I know
You
a
notice
Stanwyck Chinoli. There's two of them.
You notice this whole like group, and like you're versed enough that you understand that like you don't need to send two people secretly to flank somebody on either side to have a conversation with them. The person that is approaching most directly walks towards you, Stanwyck, and kind of like gives you a little wave. Um, he comes up and he says, "Hi, the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli, I'm led to understand. Is that right?"
I'm still plucking my saz as I nod, like looking a little weary. Yeah.
He pulls out this large, like platinum and gold and like ruby encrusted symbol of that matches the symbol that you saw the voice have on her chest. Because I work for the voice. I She can't really stick around in a crowd to get into the nitty gritty of contracts and hiring people on or giving people a break. But she was really impressed with your music.
Yes, most are.
Yeah, the humility of a true entertainer.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
might want to just play pluck the strings. So we have an opportunity for you. Would you be interested in a up to would be initially 3 months, but we could extend that out as you're interested in further at months at a time, or if things work out to a full like year-long contract for a tour in the Imperium. You'd all expense paid plus a large uh, I can't think of this guy is slick enough to definitely think of the word.
Stipend?
Your daily expenses will be taken care of, and upon each month, you'll get we'll give you a sizable pile of gold. Let's say 500 a month, and each month you can talk to us and renegotiate or break the contract if it's not something you're interested in. We know it's asking a lot to bring somebody from Ur-Durra, just sweep them into the heart of the Imperium, and it can be too much for some people. Some people will, after seeing the big cities, kind of come back to Ur-Durra and find themselves a little more comfortable here. But I'm not sure. I think you might be somebody that might be able to stick around in the Imperium and make yourself really well known. The voice wasn't lying when she was saying millions of years.
Thud kind of steps in between them, putting his hand in between this guy and the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli. He doesn't need anyone to come around here and ask for anything. We have everything we need here in Ur-Durra. We don't need your kind taking everything.
Whoa. No need to put hands on. I didn't know I needed to be speaking to your manager. I didn't know that was. Does he speak for you?
No, there's only one person that speaks for the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli, and it's the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli. But before I answer this, do I have a sense that he's full of shit, or that, like, touring the Free Cities would be like a legit thing?
No, he's talking about touring the Imperium.
Imperium, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, give me an insight check.
Can I give him advantage with don't trust these people, they smell like rotten egg.
Yeah, you can absolutely. Well, why don't I'll let Joel decide if this intervention from Thud is helpful or not. But you have the option of taking advantage.
I won't. I rolled a 16.
16. This is definitely a smoothed and practiced operator, but they seem to be on the level, and like you know the Imperium has been throwing around a lot of money, and they've been doing this like some of this like cultural exchange stuff. So this might just like they seem like it could be legit.
Do I still clock the people in the crowd that were coming after us?
Give me a perception check.
Ten.
Good.
Like from their approach, it looked like they were like kind of like standing away-ish, and like there's a lot of talls around in this hubbub. You lost them. At least for the moment, they're at least standing like far enough away, and keeping themselves with a low profile at the moment. You don't spot them in the like this like brief moment here.
My plucking has slowed to a crawl and stopped as I raise up. When do we depart? And how many millions will now know the name of the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli, good sir?
Well, that's going to be entirely up to you, and and how many you can make, listen, friend. You'll have a market that you cannot even comprehend right now. We will take you from city to city, even outside the capital of Constantia. Put Ur-Durra not in terms of the wonders of the city, where you have a wonderful home, but in terms of population, make Ur-Durra look like a podunk town. You're going to have amphitheaters at your beck and call, and if you can sway enough people to that you're worth listening to, well, there's really no end.
At the
And as far as
calling
when we're going to be leaving, that's
calling
also up to you.
Ur-Durra a podunk town like is enough to get the up in his face at that point. Maybe kind of breathing out. He didn't say anything yet, but he's like that did it. You don't talk shit about Ur-Durra.
Yeah, he backs off and he like kind of like gives you the space and like steps away, like kind of like off to the side, like trying to maintain distance with the one and only, even as he like kind of gives you space and kind of just tries to, deflate and like kind of de-escalate you. Says I didn't mean any offense. Like I said, Ur-Durra is a breathtaking city. It truly is, and the what you have been able to accomplish here is really very, very impressive. There's little to compare it to within all the great expanse of the Imperium. But I was merely just meaning for our friend here, he'll have the opportunity to share his artistic voice with so many more people. And those people like to pay their artists.
I was gonna point one big fat finger right in his face and kind of glare at him for a second as Bun Bun comes up to kind of like growl at him. And I'm gonna look back at the one and only Stenwick Chinoli and say, "Oi, they only give you what you want with money until they want more, and then they resort to violence. Look at all these tall folk around here. They got knives on you."
Knives? On me? I'll have my hand on your shoulder, like I put it there as you got in this guy's face because I didn't want the bunny to, come to harm if this came to fights. So my hand's on your shoulder as we are talking. What knives?
He isn't alone. There's others. There's two others here.
Oh, I hadn't even noticed. Yeah, why are there so many of you?
Hmm. Oh, well, of course, most of my companions were here to guard the voice, but look at me. I couldn't put up much of a fight. Your friend here could knock me down in a second if he wanted to. Uh, friend,
I'm
come
sure
on.
many could.
They were just making sure there was nobody in the crowd that wanted to hurt me. There are some people in the free cities that don't look very kindly on the Imperium. We do have a history. The last conflict with Ur-Durra, all those centuries ago, or that's over what 150, 180 years ago. People here have long memories, and there's a lot that we have to apologize for. And you see like you see two other Gwengold people, like some of these. They're One is a rather short half elf that's like, not much taller than most of the gnomes here, and one is a human. And they come out and kind of like step, they end up behind this fellow that you're talking to by about 5-6 feet, giving some space, not trying to threaten you guys. He says, "Apologies, they weren't meant to I just wanted to offer your friend a job. I didn't mean to threaten anybody. I apologize for any miscommunications."
And why would the five-tongued one want me to tour the Imperium? Is there a need of? I mean, besides for the need to hear the beautiful notes and melodies that come from these fingers.
I'm not sure I entirely understand the question. Is there a need for your fans to seek out your music? The voice is interested in is fostering what her real job here is fostering just a better future for Ur-Durra and for the Imperium. It's no secret Constance is getting old, and she's looking to, I think, in her last years, create a future of peace and prosperity that she can pass on. Um, and I think that's why the voice is out here, to help shepherd that along in any way she can. Similar outreach efforts are happening. It's not just Ur-Durra. You are truly a jewel of the Free Cities. But we are reaching out. We want to make a better future for all of us. There's enough evil in this world. There's enough evil out in the east beyond the mountains that should unite us all. And who knows what's going on with the thousandfold braid? They're growing stronger every day. Everybody thought they would crumble as fast as they came together, but who knows what plans they have? They're your neighbor, and we would hate to see you find yourselves without friends in times of trouble. That's all. We recognize that we have a lot to make up for in our past, and the conflict we had with Ur-Durra, we didn't understand the Free Cities. We didn't understand your values, and we're trying to do right by you. And if we get some great new music, we have a lot of people here who have been listening to the same stuff. There's a lot of tradition in the Imperium, in the arts, and it would be great to hear some new voices, some new perspectives.
Well, you're singing the right tune, my friend. And I know a thing or two about tunes. Let me talk with my family about this, but I think I could steal away from Dad's jewelry shop and tour the cities with you. And by the cities, I mean the towns of the Imperium. Nothing better than some good gnomish music.
You've
And
made a
nothing.
great impression on the voice. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I make a great impression on everybody. It's what I'm here for.
I'm sure you do. Unfortunately, we do have. You don't necessarily need to leave today or tomorrow, but if you do want to pursue this, the voice is going to be attending to some business outside of the city beginning tomorrow after the work with the Hydroforge is done. So if you want to pursue this, you will need to come with me to at least we're hash out the details, meet her, and make sure everything's good for all parties involved.
Yes. After the performance, where can I find you?
We'll certainly be happy to pay you for any missed wages that you're looking to acquire here. And he pulls out a bag and jingles, and you can hear a large sum of money.
Sir.
I'm sorry, but this is your one opportunity to follow up with this. The demands on the voice's time are exceptional. I'm sure you understand. So there is a brief window that will occur very shortly just before her speech that will happen soon with the turning off of the Hydroforge. So right now is I'm sorry, Mr. the one and only Stanwyck Shinoli. This it has to be now to at least finish this last piece of the process here of getting the papers signed and everything.
Thud is
You're
still
welcome to
like
bring your manager if that would make you feel more comfortable.
Thud is still right in his face, like face to face. Return our
Just like the whole
treasures.
time, just like
Yep.
slowly drifting away from you, like gracefully, like just trying to keep you like, no, don't mean any trouble.
As he keeps walking closer to cover that gap.
My hand is like pulling you back slightly as you start to get a little too far out of my reach. Like, I'm definitely tugging on you. And my mage hand is also like pulling on your boots a little bit.
Return the treasures of Ur-Durra before you take more. Gimps. My people fought and died. Lost lives because of people like you. Egg smeller.
I can tell when I'm not welcome. So the one and only Stanley Janelli, please. I've got to go. Clearly, I'd like you to come with me. And if you don't, you probably won't hear from us again. I'm sorry to say. We have a lot of a lot of people looking for this sort of opportunity.
Yes, and none of
And
them are as beautiful and as well played as me, good sir. And let me tell you that while I will for sure see you in moments to play, currently my people, and I point to the crowd, they need the music of the one and only Stanwyck Trinoli. And if I am anything aside from an artist, I am a hero of the people. And I gesture to the people who are not paying attention, probably, but I gesture to them. My music must be heard tonight, but give me till after the song and I will follow. I have eyes from here. I can see you. I will be right there, I promise.
Before he has a chance to actually respond, Thud would like to push him into the crowd, and he could like crowd surf this guy away from the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli. Kind of like
he is going to try and fight you on that in order to. He says, "Hey, we're still patrons of the arts," and he tosses. Do you have like a money thing?
No.
No.
I don't do this for the money. I do this, like, literally the most important thing to me is to have my art heard and listened to. Like, I was meant to be on a stage. It's
Says,
my
well, we're
calling.
gonna eat, and he tosses like this bag of coins to you or at your feet. If you don't give any sign of catching it,
It drops on the floor.
yeah, he allows Thud to push him away. He says, "Apologies, friend. I just wanted to offer an opportunity. I'll be on my way. You won't see me again." And he walks on. You can see Thud, the two other followers on, follow him out.
Thud gives Stanwyck, the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli, a big hug. And says, "Didn't sell out. True fan of Ur-Durra." And like tears kind of stream down his face as he says, "The one and only Stanwyck Chinoli. The one and only Stanwyck Chinoli." Kind of gets the crowd pumped.
My name is being cheered, I must play. So I continue to play on with more gusto and more fervor as I like whisper to Stan as I'm like starting. Dude, though, like, we should totally go over there after the song's done, right? Like, just to check it out.
Nah, fuck him.
But like, we could see like what's happening over there. They never turn off the forge.
Look at the crowd. That's all that matters.
God, you speak great words, and I continue playing on. It's another like 40 minutes before I'm anywhere close to done with this particular song.
Oh god, you're a jam band? Ugh.
Got to unmute myself after sneezing. Wonderful. So you if you do indeed perform that long, well, I'll say that you cannot, because the audience does not stick around that long, because after about 20 minutes you can hear that the main address and stuff is being prepared, and there's like some commotion going on. So the last lingering few people kind of like listen longingly to your music, and then continue on their way.
Well,
You have
as
like
the
maybe a
crowd starts to
small
disperse,
gathering.
then
So.
as they start to disperse, I like run over, find Thud, and be like, grab him and just like drag him over with me to where I saw them head off to. Come on, I need muscle. I don't trust that guy. He seemed like a dick, even if he's honest.
Well, I don't trust him either.
Well, he at least paid you, and I like hand him the thing of gold that he tossed at me, and just like toss it at Thud and put it in his pocket.
He takes it out. Make no deals with these people.
You're making
He
a deal
drops
with
it on the
me,
ground.
not them. And I pick
You're
it
my
up and hand
people.
it to the bunny.
The bunny drops it and kind of glares at you.
Even Bun Bun won't take Imperium Gold. I'm solidly excited about this rabbit.
Well
Right,
trained
it's got
rabbit.
principles.
Well, come on, you can tell everybody that you had a chance to guard the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli while he faced toe-to-toe with that five-tongue so-and-so.
I'd gladly do it for free. You're a hero of the town. I'm not going to let the folks of Ur-Durra not listen to your beautiful voice.
Aw, I love you.
You're
Well,
a
come
hero.
on, let's go.
Don't let us lose you like we've lost all of our other treasures.
You can never, Ur-Durra can never lose the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli.
Then why are we meeting him?
I want to see what they have to offer. Also, that girl was pretty, right? Like,
Pretty ruthless.
What did you say, Joel?
I said that lady was pretty, right? Like, let's go say hi.
Yeah, your skin just takes on again just another slightly like darker,
No, it stayed
rosier
pinkish
hue.
hue. It's great. Uh,
Feel
you'll
like you're just like slowly incrementally reaching it, so it's not to be too obvious.
yes, very very much. The one and only Stanwyck Chinoli has a disguised self that they can cast upon themselves at will, and will continually change their appearance if they see something that they think is pretty, or a person that they think has something beautiful. Their appearance change to like take on that trait slightly.
You guys
That's a good touch.
join the flow of the crowd and head towards the preparing festivities. Fireworks going off, like the last like sales, like people selling things, like start to make their last efforts, and then start to quiet down as attention is drawn towards like this big stage in front of the fountain, this big courtyard. The air is always at a like warm, comfortable temperature inside the hub, and like most of the spires, thanks to like some like internal heating and stuff, and like vents that like pour out like warmer air on cooler nights and stuff. And it is just so even on this like winter evening, people are out and comfortable in this like along this like rocky spire of this above a river. The wind is blowing through pleasantly, wafting in all the smells and all the cooking and food vending on the streets here. And the council is already up there on the stage, like talking as you guys approach, like giving some speech about the boon that has been this like new blossoming friendship between the great city of Ur-Durra and the good people within the Gwengold Imperium. It has ever since we visited the Imperium, our eyes were open to the great opportunity that awaits us all with understanding and integrating our economies and sharing the great wealth of Ur-Durra with the good people of the Imperium and vice versa. This new project, the irrigation of the plains of the Imperium with using our great Hydroforge, is the first step or the next step in a new and mutually beneficial friendship. Truly, the future has no sunset. It will be glorious, and they're just like going on. Like each of the you notice now, like each of the council members like trying to kind of like outdo each other. It's like, and they're now like just like each of them like goes on to the like second iteration where it's like totally unplanned. They're just like meandering now to like keep a little bit of the attention on themselves. The council has like again it's like this silly little rivalry and stuff within itself, and they're just like trying to egg on the crowd. And as they are, you see the voice approaching the stage. She with her retinue. You see the very friendly dealer that you just spoke to earlier among them. Spots you out and sees on the stage Stanwyck and gives you just this little nod with just a hint of disappointment in it. Again, communicating that that opportunity has passed. And just there's like just like a nod, just like a little shake of his head. The voice is introduced, and there's this big like ongoing ceremony that with all this pomp and more just flowery speech by the voice. And within a few, like another 5-10 minutes of this, there's a lull, a hush of the crowd, and there's a great like explosion sequence of fireworks that gets launched off like all of the spires. And with that, as they like one last like blast, one concerted blast, they all stop, and the Hydroforge shuts down, and the city is quieter than it has ever been for a moment. And there's like great cheering and celebration after that, and the party continues. So there's like speech by the council members. The voice and the retinue leave the stage in the courtyard, and they begin making their way out down another road into this seems to be like a utility building or something. And things go back to normal. If you wish to put on some more performances, you're more than welcome to in the levity, the exciting aftermath of the main event where people can actually cut loose and party now.
I grab Thud and I pull him to follow after them. I was like, come on, we're gonna follow him for a bit, and then the party's gonna happen later. I already have an inn. I have a standing gig at a tavern. People will be there. You gotta leave them wanting more. Let's go see what these these Imperium folks are up to.
I mean, I'll stay with you. I don't trust that they'll just leave you alone.
Oh, of course they won't. I'm beautiful and I play wonderful music.
A true hero of Ur-Durra.
Truer words. Truer words. And we scamper off and follow them.
Yeah. They went into this this building that like has some like access and ooh, I'm sorry, my coffee's ready. Let me go get that before I go any further.
Yes.
Something more important than D&D, coffee.
I mean, coffee's pretty good. I don't know if you had it.
Even D&D needs fuel.
It does.
I couldn't see the pictures you shared. They were like SVX files or something.
Oh, that didn't work. Sad.
I mean, I would have to have like GIMP or something. There's a couple of the viewers that will read it, but none that I have.
I stole them off the internet very quickly because it was easier than doing anything else. But they're kind of fun instruments. They're like Middle Eastern-y type of deals.
Yeah, I'll just Google it.
The saz is like a lute-ish. Lute-esque.
So you guys follow after the voice and her retinue into what you know, or you. Oh, give me a history check, actually.
Both of us or just one?
Yeah, both of you.
10.
18.
You know, like you know that this like some like utility access like makes sense that they might use this as just like a way that they can like get to anywhere in the city. Like you could get to the embassy, which is down. And then also if they were heading towards the Hydroforge, they could do that. It's even further down. This it's like it's one of those access points that kind of like gets everywhere, if not like the most direct and like gnomish way to get there. And I think Stanwyck, you know that there are some like places that have been kind of cordoned off. This is among them. There are places that Ur-Durra has very, like I said earlier, like aside from the Hydroforge, like most of the city is accessible by just about anybody. So there's like people have like private property or whatever, but like there isn't like city access, like you can't get here or whatever for the most part. But there are some places that have been kind of cordoned off, and this is among them. One of these like central like utility accesses has been kind of for the work that's going on with the Hydroforge, presumably has been kind of cordoned off and set off limits.
Are there guards?
No, not the outside at least.
I walk in.
Yeah. You walk in and you hear a familiar voice say, "Hi." Like I said, the voice's schedule is not available any further. You have missed the boat and it is sailing now. You are not allowed here. Please turn around and leave. And you see the two people behind him that were with him before, same guy, are in a much more imposing kind of stance than they were before.
They definitely deal in violence. But be careful.
I mean, I see those fists. Don't you also deal in violence?
Yeah, he pulls out 2 hammers and kind of stands in between the one and only Stanley Chinoli and the guards.
Hank, who are you speaking to out there? Sorry, voice. Just somebody who just walked where they shouldn't. Missed a meeting. They thought they were supposed to meet with you, and they are mistaken.
Walked where I shouldn't. I was born here, sir. The city is open to all. I walk where I want
You're
to.
welcome to take your issues up with the council, who has made this area accessible to work specifically associated with the work going on at the Hydroforge, which those limitations have, I see, as I understand the local custom and law, been extended. These are not new laws or regulations, merely an extension of those. As I said, you're welcome to take up any complaints you have with the council itself. I believe they are out there. So,
Hey, Thud.
um,
Can you remind me, Thud? Which cities is Ur-Durra part of?
Ur-Durra is part of the city of Ur-Durra. There's no gimps coming over here telling Ur-Durrans where they can and can't go.
The voice comes around the
Because we here in the
into-
free cities go where we please, and I like shove past him as I see the voice coming through.
He and the other two all well, he puts his hand firmly on your shoulder. The other two draw their weapons. The voice comes and says, "Hank, that's surely not necessary. He's just a curious performer. Yes, I met you just outside. A shame you didn't take us up on our opportunity. Although," she looks at Hank and says, "I have a moment. If you'd like to reconsider, I guess I could,
Oh, did
listen."
Hank not tell you that I definitely accepted? I just needed time to
Hank,
finish my business. He is kind of a dick and smells a little like eggs. And I
Rotten
cast
eggs.
I cast prestidigitation to make it smell like eggs is coming from his person. Rotten eggs.
she smirks and she says, "For my own safety, please do not cast any further spellcraft without, asking first. That's incredibly rude. Now," and she like nods, "we can all settle down." And the two other guards sheath their weapons. "I'm sure you don't mean me any harm by barging into a place where you're not supposed to and uninvited after having rejected our previous invitation,
Again, not supposed
which
to.
was,
This city is free,
as we
my.
communicated to you, my good sir, a limited opportunity. I have business to attend to make sure that the Imperium's interests and everything going on with the Hydroforge is seen to appropriately. The council is seemingly busy with the celebrations here. But I'd be happy to listen to you for just a moment."
Feeling slighted, the one and only Stanwyck Chanley plucks his saz angrily and sings a short little diddle. "My arms are short, extend my reach. Spectral hand, grab me a peach." And my mage hand comes out and like flips him the bird just like straight in her face. And then I tap Thud and we walk out the door. Let's go to a better party.
The only place is better than this. And he kind of walks backwards, hammers in hand, staring at the people that are staring at him.
"Charming." And she turns back into the building.
You were right. Those Imperium bastards suck.
You can't trust him.
This time, we have our other two party members making their way across the catwalks, following Petunia's lead, making a quick way of it through the back ways of Ur-Durra. It looked like you have something to say, Joel.
I have one quick question. Is there any way for us to tell, like, which way they might have been heading from where they were in the building? I know I got into the door, but that's about it.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Oh, yeah, buddy. I rolled a natural 20 for a 25.
You know that you heard them like walk past a like effectively like a stairwell and went into a like pneumatic tube, and you heard that thing like open. They went inside and you heard the like assembly like shift in a downward direction, and you know that the like this tube in this spot like is going to bypass the embassy and go down to the Hydroforge itself.
Okay, thank you.
But we have Petunia and Grungle having left the well, let's say he joins you. Bibbles joins you on this adventure. As fearful as he is, he says, I'll hang back, Grungle. You lead the way, and Petunia. If we get into a scrap, I'll try not to get in the way. Maybe. And he follows along, and you guys head towards the hub. Um, the festivities and like all the like the speeches and stuff went on for so long that even with your guys' delay and you're like having a drink and stuff at the bar, it is now like during the post, like the speeches are done and people are just like celebrating. There's fireworks going off and stuff, streamers and all sorts of whistling inventions and flying little doodads and widgets and stuff on display. You guys head towards the hub, and you at least begin your work here. It's like the fast way to get towards the hub, like a central spot where this courtyard is, and the speeches were held and stuff. And it's a good access to a lot of different ways to get farther down towards the Hydroforge if that's your intent at this time. I'll say that as you guys come in, you're on the lookout also for Thud Grumble, and you're looking out for him, and your ears hear the melodic notes of the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli's music playing, and you can't help but draw your attention towards it, and you see Thud kind of like looking and posing, like glaring at this like person who's like obviously like some like merchant or something from the Gwengold Imperium as they like walk by, giving the real stink eye. But you recognize Thud, and looks to be being like working as like hired hand or something for this musician.
The, I would. How far away? Are they?
Just across the courtyard. It's like you can barely hear the faint tunes, but it was so alluring, drew your attention in.
I would take one of my. I would take. I would walk up to. I would cautiously advance to within about 30 feet of him, and then not wanting to attract the attention of any Imperium people around, I would take my one of my playing cards and mage hand it and kind of like flick his neck with it. And kind of allow him to see it and then draw it back towards myself and kind of wave.
Bun, what the fuck? And he like reaches back and grabs a card. Oh. And looks over at the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli and sees that he's very well distracted with himself and his music, and kind of finds a way over to Grunglebuck.
Once he gets over and I would introduce Thud to my new compatriots and say, I know your attitudes towards the Imperium haven't changed much. See, now these fine people have an aim to uncover what they're really doing, and we're hoping to enlist your service.
I mean, when it comes to the Gimps, I'm always happy to help. They just tried to steal the one and only Stanwyck Chinoli from us. I think they're headed down to the Hydroforge.
So, what a coincidence! That's where we're headed.
We're headed that way tonight to recover some intel, see what we can do. I was thinking of maybe heading down there now through this back passage. Mark, would I know of like a place that we could like watch from, like maybe from another tower or somewhere like watch from a distance, sort of who like goes in and out of the Hydroforge area?
Hmm. There's the difficulty is there's like the Hydroforge is like the lower like part of the hub spire, and it's like a big
Mm-hmm.
complex. So there's not just like a single entrance.
Sure.
So there's like many different ways to access it. Like if you knew who like which one they were approaching from, you could definitely do that. But you
Okay.
couldn't watch them all is the challenge. You're not
Right.
yeah.
Okay. We were gonna go down and see if we could catch sight of anything. Maybe now, scope it out a little bit. Let's
Um,
see you join us. Unless you have another agenda first, Grungle.
as far Mark, would I know of any because you said I knew some people who might be working around down here.
Mhm.
Would I know of any security that might be able to let us into an area that we're not quite supposed to be in?
Yeah. Why don't you give me a just like a charisma check? Is this is just like, do you have the right connection here?
Charisma check. Okay, all right. Oh, no, 5.
No, yeah. You're you know some people, but you're not on good terms with them.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Uh, so I'd ask, whereabouts do you place this device? See, we need to know where we're headed. I'm somewhat from. Am I at least like familiar? Have I been in inside the Hydroforge before?
Hmm. Um, Probably not unless you had a job there. Unless you were like, yeah, stealing something from some engineer or like from like the city or something. So probably not. Um, it's kind of like one of the few places in the city that yeah, like unless you have business there, you don't really go.
Okay. Um,
So yeah, I mean, I'd say that like if you want to roll a history check, if you think that your character might have had a reason to go in there, you can be more than welcome to.
I do think when Petunia was
18.
helping build this little enchantment, she would have probably tried to get a hold of like some kind of plans or have somebody like draw out where it was going to go,
Hmm.
or like draw out the space so that she could like figure out the best place for it to go to tell them where to put it. Could
Yeah.
could she have some intel there?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me um oh, we'll just say this is part of yeah, like part of your planning for that. For just like building this thing or enchanting this thing correctly.
Mhm.
You had to know like what situations exactly it would be in.
Yeah.
You know that in in the very center of the gyro for or the hydro forge is this like there's you saw that there like you had some schematics that said like there's a was something like a hydroplanar envelope that is in motion around a central crystal, and that is where like all the tubes meet and where the water is directed from. This The camera was set to see the actual like apparatus, like this main like the very heart of the hydroforge, but also the like control room where like a lot of levers and like all the like dials and things where like things like this whole system can actually be manipulated. So it captures both of those. So it's kind of like nestled in like these like pipes in this corner in this like chaotic space that's like all just like catwalks and like platforms and ladders and like it's not room as much as it is just a utility space. And aside from that, like central like control room that has a large like what it like looks like glass wall, so it can look over the hydroforge itself and can like visually see what's going on around it. So that's like the main like room in this like the control room's like the main like occupied space. Everything else is just like access catwalks and stuff. Like going among these like big tubes that are going all over the place around this like central like spinning like crazy it's not like a cyclone or anything, but there's just like this like sphere of water that you expect is like sweeping always around this like crystal thing. um
Yeah, so like knowing where it is and where we're trying to get to, or where we would need to get to, I guess I think like if there's a likely route from the hub, I would like to head that way, like to where I could see like from the hub side, people going in and out.
well, again, that's like
Unless you guys
the
have another
heart of
idea.
the place. Like again, like
Oh,
there's
I
this is
see.
like that was like I was describing like the middle of this big area that has like
Oh, because it's
various
inside
ways
there.
to
Okay,
access it. So
sorry.
again, like
Yeah.
yeah, you would if you want like that's basically if you got into the actual hydroforge, you could see,
Okay.
at any time like your vision's blocked by some tube somewhere, but you can like
Sure.
get anywhere you need to once you're in there, and like sneak around and hide if you wanted to. You definitely have enough of the schematics that like if you got into the hydroforge, sneaking around is very, very possible because it's noisy. There's all sorts of cover, and it's in a lot of like 3 dimensions. So you could like be up high away from people and like spy on them from above even and stuff.
Mhm. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
share a little bit of what I know of the layout with my companions and ask them how long they want to wait before we go in.
I think right now you guys are all together except for Stan, for the one and only, who I think you like Thud left. So I don't know if that like yeah, just to set the scene.
Yeah.
I mean, his set's gonna go on for at least another 30 minutes. I may be able to
Okay.
try and calm him down to 15 if I get his attention. But if you want to explore ahead, we'll catch up as quickly as possible.
Well, the device should catch what's happening. I don't know if we need to go just yet. And I look at our friend Bibbles.
Yeah, Bibble says my my dad was taken. These people are willing to do anything, I think, and we need to be careful. That's why I wanted the recording enchantment, so we wouldn't have to go down there and be in there while who knows how many powerful evil people are assembled in there right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take in the show for a little bit, and perhaps we can come up with a good plan for a distraction when we go in later.
I'll try and give him the cut it short symbol and see if it works. But you know how much he loves a crowd. He's gonna like
It
head
doesn't
back,
work.
head back through the crowd, and yeah, try and give him the notice. But I'll wait the entire 30 minutes for the show to commence.
Yeah, there are several encores, I imagine, as like keeps on like stopping or closing up, and then it's like, one more, one more. But yeah, it goes on full
Instrument
30, 40 minutes.
changes. We've got hand drums going
Costume
off. We've got
changes.
like definitely different costume changes, like mid song, after song. Disguise Self is doing a lot of work.
um, yeah, why don't you give me another performance check?
Ooh, that one was good too. I rolled a 16 and I ended up with a 21. No,
Nice.
wait, that's wrong.
Another
Sorry. 23? 23.
even better. Another exceptional performance. The people, you see many familiar faces that have been like looking for another performance by you. They like caught an earlier one before the speeches and stuff, and they like you've like drawn like so many people are craning to hear you. And after all of that, the evening is starting to die down, and you physically can't go on without refreshing, getting a water break and stuff. And Thud
That
grabs
keeps
you.
going like this, like. At the end of the show, I will take that bag of gold that Hank threw at me and like throw it into the crowd. Like I'll open it up and just like splash the gold into the crowd. You've been wonderful, Ur-Durra. I would never be anywhere else in the world today.
I'll
You're like, it was
carry.
like, what a strange reversal of normal performances.
I'll
This is
carry
really
the one and only
amazing.
Stanwick Jolie away, like the movie Bodyguard.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, so you're all gathered and can hopefully distract Stanwick from his need to perform for long enough to bring him up to speed here.
Mhm.
Oh, and
No.
one last thing, Stanwick. On that natural 20, you heard that the voice went down the tube with you heard even more footsteps than you had seen. There were more people back in the deeper in there that joined her. With a natural 20, with a natural 20, oof. Okay. Yeah, detail I should have given you with a natural 20 earlier. One of those sets of feet that joined her was manacled.
Oh, someone in chains. Gotcha.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anywho.
I definitely would have let Thud know that while we were heading back to the parties before I started playing.
It probably wouldn't surprise him. He's probably seen a lot of people in manacles being dragged back to the Gwengold Imperium during his military campaigns.
But why would they take them down to the forge?
Mm.
They're evil people if they take everyone.
Down to our Hydroforge?
I mean, it's worth an investigation. But I assume they're just taking him back to the Gimp land.
Do you wanna go down to the forge after our show?
Well, I
My
think my
show?
friend's here. And he introduces Petunia and Grunglebuck. Well, they seem to be going to there as well.
Yeah, it's funny. We were just making plans to do just that.
My name's Bibbles. I'm a huge fan.
I like take out a pen and sign his arm. Everybody is. Thank you. You're heading down to the forge for what reason now?
Well, we have something down there we need to retrieve. But it may shed some light on what's going on here. And Petunia like looks a little nervous, and she's like, "You were looking at going with the Imperium?"
Oh, has Thud been telling you about my deals now, huh? Well, of course they offered the one and only Stanwick Chinoli a tour of the Imperium so that they could also benefit from the wares of my music. It apparently didn't work out. The Rotten One, as he is now to be called, he didn't like my jib or my commitment to the stage, as it was.
Petunia just looks a little confused at all this, and she says, "Well, I don't get out much, but I'm sure you're very committed."
So, when you put this device there, how did you get it there in the first place?
Well, I
Bibbles,
just enchanted it for Bibbles.
Bibbles says, well, I spent a large portion of what remains of my family's or my father's money to bribe somebody to take care of it. A former friend of the family owed us some favors, and well, some money made the difference. He was an engineer down there. I haven't heard from him in a few days. He put it down there last week.
Are you sure it's down there, young one?
He said it got down there, and well, I hope it's still there.
Seems to me we should position ourselves to find out. Seems to me we should see to our egress into this fine establishment.
I agree, but is there time for the third act? I mean, I've warmed them up at this point.
Sybil
You
smiles.
said,
Is like, yeah, absolutely. There's time. The recording will last. We need to go. We need to wait till after the bad people are out of there, right? Bite-sized danger. Not.
Yes. If we can avoid getting ourselves caught up in things, that would be ideal. Why don't you finish your set?
We don't want to overplay things. Maybe we should get going before things happen at the forge. I mean, I don't trust that they're just going to take the water. I'm sure they're after something a lot more than Ur-Durra has to offer. They've tried to take everything from us, even our heroes.
So,
At
it will
that,
take
I
time
will
to
do
get
whatever
things to
Thud
life.
says.
And in that time, it may capture what we need. But
When
I think we need to have a
Petunia,
plan for getting in there.
yeah, we do need a plan. When Thud said that, Petunia's like, they took my family too. Well, they killed them, but because they stood against them.
They'll take anything, whether you offer it or not.
I believe it.
I say we get down there and figure it out as soon as we see what's going on.
They do have good taste in music, though.
And our treasures and our families, as he looks at Petunia.
Yeah.
Sybil says, well, I don't have much experience in skullduggery and skulking around, so I'll follow your lead. If you want to go now, it might be more dangerous.
Oh, I'd like to scout around the entrance to the central hub. They're free to continue their final act, and we can reunite. And after I scout out some entrances, I can return and we can plan our entrance then.
The third act is usually a bust. People usually stick around for the 2 p.m. show or the 2 a.m. show. We'll be okay. But I gotta be back by the time that the 2 a.m. show starts, or people start to get worried.
Well, you're talking to a professional. See, I pride myself in being in brevity.
Huh.
Well, let's all go scout around for a bit, and then once it looks like it's quieted down, maybe we can make our way in, choose the best path.
Sounds good.
Let's see if we can find one that has minimal guards, and perhaps our friend here could create a distraction. And, like, look over towards Stanwyck or something.
Oh.
Who's Stanwyck?
Excuse me. The one and only Stanwyck Chinoli?
Correct. I'm great at distractions.
Somehow I'm not.
He has a bunny. Also quite distracting.
True.
He
But
pulls
we
out
want
Bun
the bunny
Bun.
to be okay.
Oh,
I'm not really the
Bun.
sneaky type, but I'll wait here. Just let me know when you need me.
I'm ready to follow.
Yeah, so you guys begin the journey down deeper into the depths and heart of the hub, the central spire. The Hydroforge is deep in the bottom of this thing, so you probably have like 150 feet of just like descent to do. But of course, that's like winding around, finding a place to go down, sinking in. But Petunia expertly navigates you as you immediately go in the different, like the exact opposite direction you think you need to go to get to like the nearest like main access. And Petunia's like finds this side door to this like tiny little like back alley stair. You guys are about to raise the Hydroforge, and I think we'll end there with next session beginning with your approach and your investigation beginning in full, and we'll see if what you find will lure you in while the activity is still underway.
Ugh, but do we have to end? Because it's so fun. I love our little gnomies.
Well, it was fun getting you guys all connected there in a really loosey-goosey way. Thanks for going through that with me.
Oh god, it was so good. I love things like this.
Ah.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah,
How are we gonna meet
same.
the other two hopefuls?
Yeah, so I imagine we'll be able to play